And God needs somebody to go to this nation that is under judgment. And Isaiah is the only one in the vision. It says, "Here am I, send me." In verse 9, the Lord accepts his offer. Go and tell this people. Go tell them. Tell them what? Listen to the message. Verse 9, keep on listening, but do not perceive. Keep on looking, but do not understand. Render the hearts of this people insensitive, their ears dull, their eyes dim, otherwise they might see with their eyes, hear with their ears, understand with their hearts, and return and be healed. What? Go tell them, here's the message, it's too late. You wouldn't listen, you wouldn't see, you wouldn't believe, and now you can't. Do you see that? Tell them it's too late. Tell them you can keep listening, keep looking, but you will not perceive and you will not understand. Your hearts are insensitive, your ears are dull, your eyes are dim, so that you cannot see, you cannot hear, you cannot understand, you cannot return, and you cannot be healed. Tell them it is too late. Judgment is already in motion. In verse 11, Isaiah says, how long do I do that? How long do I do that? Until the cities are devastated and without inhabitant, houses are without people, and the land is utterly desolate. The Lord has removed men far away, and the forsaken places are many in the midst of the land. Just keep doing it till there's not a soul left to speak to. Tell them it's too late. Tell them it's too late. Too late for this people, this nation. You keep telling them until all the cities have been devastated, until no one is left, it's without inhabitant, till all the houses are empty and the land is desolate. Until the Lord has removed them far away. That's the captivity. Just keep telling them. And the message is, you wouldn't believe, and now you can't believe. It's too late. Verse 13. Why would you do that? Yet there will be a 10th portion in it. What is that? There's a remnant. It's too late for the nation, but there is a remnant. He calls that remnant the stump. He calls it at the end of verse 13, the holy seed. In the 8th century, Israel could no longer, as a nation, believe. It was too late. But there was a remnant. There was a remnant, a holy seed the Lord would gather. Fast forward now to the New Testament and look at Matthew 13. Matthew 13. And we'll look at verse 10. And by the way, both Mark and Luke make reference to this, not as extensively as Matthew does, but follow this. And the disciples came to him and said, why do you speak to them in parables? Isaiah had spoken in a parable, and the parable was a judgment parable. Why do you speak to them in parables? Listen to this. Jesus answered them, to you it has been granted to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. To them it has not been granted. Did you get that? I'm talking to them in parables because it's too late. They haven't been granted the ability to understand. Verse 12, whoever has, to him more shall be given, and he will have an abundance, but whoever does not have, even what he has shall be taken away from him. From now on, what they think they know about spiritual truth is going to be subtracted. Therefore, I speak to them in parables, because while seeing they do not see, while hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. In their case, the prophecy of Isaiah is being fulfilled. And he quotes right out of Isaiah 6, "You will keep on hearing, but will never understand. You will keep on seeing, but will not perceive. For the heart of this people has become dull. With their ears they scarcely hear, and they have closed their eyes. Otherwise they would see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their heart and return, and I would heal them." They can't come now. They will hear but not understand. They will see but not perceive. Their hearts are dull. Their ears can't hear. Their eyes can't see. And they can't understand. And they can't return to me. And I cannot and will not heal them. Jesus pronounces essentially the same curse on first century Israel that Isaiah pronounced on 8th century Israel. The remnant was the disciples. Verse 16, "Blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. For truly I say to you that many prophets and righteous men desired to see what you see and didn't see it, and to hear what you hear and didn't hear it." It was too late for Isaiah's generation. It was too late for Jesus' generation. They had their opportunity. Turn to John chapter 12. As we continue to follow this, which leads back to the parable of Mark 12. But in John 12, verse 37, though Jesus had performed so many signs before them, they were not believing in him. They had their opportunity. 3 years of it. This was to fulfill the word of Isaiah the prophet, which he spoke, "Lord, who has believed our report, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed?" And that is quoted right out of Isaiah 53, verse 1. For this reason, they could not believe. For Isaiah said again, "He has blinded their eyes," right out of chapter 6, "hardened their heart, so that they would not see with their eyes and perceive with their heart and be converted, and I heal them." These things Isaiah said because he saw his glory and he spoke of him. Even if they wanted to believe, they couldn't believe. That's illustrated in verse 42. Many even of the rulers believed in him, but because of the Pharisees, they were not confessing him for fear they would be put out of the synagogue, for they loved the approval of men rather than the approval of God. Even those who were drawn to believing couldn't come. Too late. So our Lord is pronouncing the same kind of judgment that Isaiah pronounced on his generation. It's terrifying to think of that. The disciples and the few followers, they were the remnant. But apart from that, the nation could not believe because they would not believe. Willing unbelief became judicial unbelief. God fixed them in their rejection.